Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another episode of I'm Him Sports Podcast. And today we have a very special guest for us, for all you soccer fans out there. So he's a former USA men's national soccer team, 2017 Gold Cup champ, New York Red Bulls, New England Revolution, even in Inter Miami, which we'll talk about later, Minnesota United, and now playing for San Antonio FC. So here's a soccer star of Mr. Juan Agudelo. What's up, brother?
You're.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming over here, dude.
Oh, man. Thanks for having me.
Pretty busy.
This is dope.
Yeah, so you, how's everything? Everything's good?
Yeah, everything's great. I'm in off season right now, so I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. When are you leaving for San Antonio?
The 25th of January, so about 2 weeks. Yeah.
It's been a long road, man.
Yeah. Trust me, I
think you have a couple more years?
I mean, just you reading this stuff out. I'm like, shoot, that was me? I forgot.
Man, yeah. Hey, you know what, man? You have a couple more years in you. We've been talking about you still signing with the MLS. I mean, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have a couple. I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel like I hit a point where I was just like, all right, let's see how well my body can get and see how far I can get with like actually locking in. I mean, I wish I had that mentality when I was like in my prime, but better late than never, right? So.
Yeah, so like, I mean, you obviously pay attention to the age, right? But at the same time, you're like, you know what? If my body's feeling good, my mind is right. I mean, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah,
right?
I think the age thing for athletes is the recovery part. Like, you used to just be able to play a game and then 2 days after you're good. But when you're older, the recovery process like can be like 2 to 3 days or 4 days, and like to be 100% back in. And then now we're like playing back-to-back games, so it all like stacks up.
Recovery's like long.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how that feels. And not professionally though. No, nothing professional, but workouts are a little bit harder. But so what's the difference though from playing when you started 2011? In terms of recovery, what's the difference in like technology and diet till now?
Oh yeah, back then it was just take a cold shower.
That's it?
With the head shower on. But now it's like you got these boots, you have these game readies for ice, you have these supplements you take, you have these magnesium tablets to help you sleep. Then there's just so much out there now.
Yeah. And
I mean, I would say I'm old fashioned, but hopefully all these things work, because I'm just like, you know, these things work. But
you do any cryo?
I've done it before. That stuff's serious. But I do know, and I experienced that like ice baths, like that's a big difference.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference.
Good, man. You know what? I'm still glad that you're going, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about your childhood. You're originally from Colombia. Why the move to New York, right? You moved to New York?
Yeah, so my mother, she was studying dentistry in Colombia, and then she went on a trip to America, and she met what is now my stepfather. And it all went fast from there. I was just 7, 8 years old, and then my mom said, we're going to America. And I love them. I was like, I'll go wherever you.
Yeah, of course.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
So boom, we went to New York, New Jersey, and yeah, man, that was a big move. It was a big change that I didn't realize when I was younger. Like I do now when I'm older and I see my friends from there, and I'm just like, man, like my mom never met this, you know, wonderful American, all white, blue eyes gringo.
Really?
This was
your stepdad?
Oh, white? Yeah, he's totally white. I mean, the whitest you can be. I mean, I get uncomfortable when I bring him to Colombia, you know? But
probably think he's from Argentina or something.
Yeah. But
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know what would have happened. I think my whole like route of my life would have gone totally different.
Let's talk about the cultural shock. I mean, obviously it's a big difference from Colombia all the way to New York, right?
Yeah, no, it was a big culture shock, but I think I was lucky that I started it off so young. You can't hear it in my voice. Like I didn't know any English. It was very frustrating. The culture part was like, it was very frustrating learning English.
Yeah.
It's easy for y'all because y'all understand like that's just how the words work. But nah, English is one of the toughest languages.
Oh, it is.
They make
some
no
of it's
sense.
stupid.
There's some things that don't make sense.
Exactly. No, I mean, I'm with you because I was 8 years old when we got here from the Philippines. I wanted to be American so bad. And then, yeah, read and red is spelled the same. There, and there, and you and your. And it's like, what that? I think it's probably one of the hardest,
Like,
right?
knife? I don't know knife. Like, I don't, why is that there? You know?
Right? I mean, I don't know.
Thing.
I think, and I have so much respect for the people in that immigrate here from the Latin Americas. Then they have to learn the language. I mean, that's got to be the most difficult thing because Spanish to me is easier, I feel. All right?
Yeah. I think Spanish, you just go off of the alphabet and the noises that the letters make, and they stay the same.
Right? Exactly. They
English,
sound the same. Yeah.
Sometimes there's some rules that you have to change around.
Too much, man. So you were, what, 7 years old when you started playing? How did that come about?
I started playing Colombia a bit, probably like 6, 7. I was not good. I was this thick unit linebacker playing soccer at center back.
But that's the only thing to do over there at Colombia, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
soccer,
no
cycling's big. I don't know why.
Playing ball.
Nah, basketball, double dribbles the whole time.
Yeah.
Like carrying the ball.
Let's mess with our feet.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was just soccer. Like,
Yeah.
the only thing that I watched was the World Cup, Valderrama with his big yellow, curly hair, just like a big known person in the world because of his style. And then I'm at a bar, which I probably wasn't allowed to be, with my dad, and we were watching.
Colombia?
Yeah, in Colombia.
Oh, wow.
And we're watching the game. Obviously, everyone's like dressed in yellow for.
Was this when was this? What?
This was, I think, some World Cup,
90s?
late 90s, some World Cup.
Probably 98, 2002, somewhere around there.
And there was a moment where I looked at the TV and I was like, this guy, like everyone, he has a whole country like eyes on him, other players too, but this whole like team that's wearing yellow, blue, and red socks, like that just like is a memory in my time, like my life, where it was like it clicked for me, and I looked around and I was like, I want to be one of those guys on the TV, making everybody not go to their jobs to watch the game, locking in and being like passionate about their country, and I was like, yo, this is crazy how powerful that sort of thing of a sport is.
I mean, especially if it's a sport, the only sport in your country, pretty much, right? Like, I'm from the Philippines, and somebody like Manny Pacquiao, he'll shut the country down on every pay-per-view fight, and then the crime rates go down because everybody's just getting along and rooting for one person or one team. So, I mean, that's what's great about the World's Game, Yeah. So, well, you were playing in New Jersey for a while. How long was that?
Yeah, I was in playing for the Red Bulls, New York Red Bulls.
The academy?
Started off with the academy. Well, yeah, started off with the academy, but it was short-lived because I guess I hit an age where I was just like rolling and doing really good. And I got invited to go to Florida for the residency program, which is a big deal because I don't know the stat, but like 60% of the players that are young and get invited to this USA national team development.
So that's what the residency is, right?
Yeah, residency is like a boarding school in Florida. It's an IMG Academy, and this is where Serena Williams and Venus Williams
And this is for all the sports.
This is tennis, basketball, and soccer.
Yeah.
But U.S. Soccer decided to do put their
Yeah.
Olympic program. So we were training for like the Olympics, we were training for the World Cup, and we were just like lab rats. And I was like,
You were
yeah,
an experiment.
we were
What was that during a Jurgen Klinsmann experiment? Because he was the
No.
first one to say, "Hey, look, we have to look at more international players that have some kind of American citizenship
Nah, that was
size."
I'm old, man.
Yeah, so
That was
so
that was before. That was some Bob Bradley stuff.
oh, okay.
And that was that was back in what 2010,
Oh, okay.
2009, and it was surreal to get the email because I was like, Mom, like 60% of this is my dream. 60% of people like they go pro, like Landon Donovan, Josie Altidore, Michael Bradley, like mostly Gucci, like all these guys, Maurice Edu, all these guys that went pro, go to Europe, they were in this program. So they just built monsters down there.
Landon Donovan was in the same program?
Landon Donovan was
really, because he was all the way from California.
I mean, I'm not naming DeMarcus Beasley, Houston guy, shout out.
Yeah, for sure. My guy.
He was there. So it was just like, I have to go, Ma, like, da-da-da. And she understood, and I went, and I was just like ready to just become a monster. Because we school, normal, 8, I was 16, 15 years old. School is normally 8 to 3, give or take. And then this one was wake up, train, 12:30, go to school until 5:30.
So this was a prep school.
This is pretty much.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't just a normal private.
We would show up to the classroom when kids were on their like last period class and leaving, and then the school would be almost empty and just the soccer players would be in class. And it was just like, it was crazy. It was a lot of sacrifice because like you miss out on a lot of normal things, but it worked out at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it is for most professional athletes, right? I mean, everything that they have to, put risk on, not seeing their families and, Now, did you have any interest in playing for Team Colombia?
I did. The thing is, they didn't have any interest on with me that early. They don't have like scouts here in America looking for Colombian players. They're over there in Colombia looking for a Colombian player, especially under 14, 15. Because like what people don't know is like scouting soccer players, I think in every sport, like scouting young players, like, but people take it to the max. Like in Europe, Barcelona, like they need to know your parents' like height. They need to know your parents' like health.
Oh.
So they don't even look at you. Like they're scouting a player that's like 12 years old, but they're not even scouting them. Like we need to know like your grandparents, like how tall were they? Like what are you going
past?
What
the athlete? Yeah, wow.
Exactly. What are you going to be like? There's a lot of investments.
Yeah.
I see the money side of it now, and I understand it. But like I was saying, it was a surreal experience to actually be with a bunch of the best players in the United States.
Do you have that one guy that basically guided you and said, okay, look, you're going to be, I want you to go here, I want you to go there. Basically somebody that just discovered you,
That discovered me?
Like you didn't have anybody guiding you besides, I mean, you had your mom's support, but any other support besides your family that helped you just excel?
There was a coach when I was young, Fernando. He's my godfather now.
Oh,
his son is basically my brother.
Yeah.
And I moved into his house just to play for the New York Red Bulls Academy because my mother lived very far from practice. You hear these stories all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Clint Dempsey used to drive like 2-3 hours.
Oh, yeah, because Nacogdoches, there's nothing there.
Exactly.
Shout out Nacogdoches, but there's nothing there.
So there's no team there. And my mom, I just saw it was very hard on her to come back from work and drive 2 hours during traffic to be at a 6:30.
And that was Jersey.
That was Jersey.
Yeah.
And so we kind of just sat down and the coach was like, look, listen, this kid's got potential. He's a very good person. He gets along with my son. I don't mind him living with us up north.
Yeah.
And yeah, they took me in, and I was like, that was like my family. And it wasn't like, yeah, it was a good gesture, a gesture that I really think took my career off. And he's a great guy. Like, he's my godfather.
So you stayed in New York for a while, because I mean, obviously, yeah, you were drafted by by Red Bull.
Yeah.
And were you living on your own then, or you were still with your mom, or how?
No, I was the man. Like, I was in high school, junior year, doing online school, but
Yeah.
I was still. Yeah, all right. So the residency program, I went to the World Cup in Nigeria, and we lost in, I think, round of 16 against Italy.
Was this U17?
Under 17.
Right.
Yeah, so
right.
I was 16, 17 and went to the World Cup.
Yeah.
That was a cool experience. And then after the World Cup, like, that's when the calls come in. The scouts are all there. And I was like, okay, Mom, like, I think I need an agent now.
Yeah.
So then my agent started negotiating. I went to Colombia to
See if you can
full
play.
disclosure to boast your podcast, but I went to Colombia to train with a team called Millonarios in the capital, just to make my money contract offer increase in New York. So I tried to give them a little bit of FOMO, like, if we don't raise our money, we're gonna lose him.
So you use that as leverage.
So I used that as leverage to boost my
boost
contract.
up your stock.
Because I'm like, all my friends are in New York.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Colombia. Like, I'm doing things backwards. Like, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was cool because I was in high school, junior year, and playing for New York Red Bulls. So yeah, I signed for the Red Bulls. Playing for the New York Red Bulls and coming home, hanging out with high school kids, and they're like, "Yo, I just saw you on TV.
Yeah,
like, what's going
yeah.
on?" Like,
Yeah.
and I'm going to parties, and I'm what, like, it was. I was the man. And it was a cool feeling, and everything was coming at me.
Yeah.
And it just kept increasing, and that's when, like, the train, like, took off of, like, sponsorships. And,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, like endorsement sponsorships. I mean, who were the big folks that came at you?
yeah, Adidas came at me at first.
Wow.
And then Powerade for the Olympics, and then a bunch of other stuff like Wells Fargo and like cell phone companies. Not Verizon, but like Cricket Wireless.
Cricket. Primeco.
Yeah. And,
So did you get any of them? Because you said Adidas at first. I mean, what happened there? Do you want to talk about that?
I got all of them. I got
really?
all of them.
Wow.
And I just, I mean, they're competing, you can't choose the same one. Like, I can't be Adidas and Nike. I can't be like Verizon.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
you can't get with the competitor.
Right. So that's in the contract. And I started playing. And then it took off when I was 17, and I got a call from the like full national team. And I thought the whole time it was like, oh, it's just an under 20 like national team.
U20, U23.
U20, U23 like developing team, but it was like the full national team and
The senior team.
And yeah, that's when it took off.
Man, that's when you made it. But in American football, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm in the senior team, because that's when I think the popularity of your brand just started really, really coming up, right? Because, I mean, a lot of people don't really watch as much MLS as European football at the time, right? I mean, of course, David Beckham changed that, but tell us about the process of being called up to the men's senior team and how it felt.
Yeah, no, it was it was the craziest, like, phone call and then verification of an email.
Yeah.
Because I got the email and I was like, okay, I'm going to like an under 20 camp. I've done these before. But it was after practice and I just scrolled through it, boom. And then I got a phone call and I was like, okay, this is the under 20 national team coach, blah, blah, blah. I answer the phone and then I recognize the voice and I'm like, why is Bob Bradley calling me?
Directly Bob Bradley.
Yeah, directly.
Yeah, because he was a coach at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Why is Bob Bradley calling me directly? This is weird.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Hey Juan, how you doing? We'd like to invite you to a couple games, 2 games in South Africa."
That was in 11, right? 2011?
2000, maybe 2012, 2011.
Okay.
And yeah, that was just unheard of because young players don't get call-ups like that
Yeah, you were
ever.
a teenager, bro.
I think like the last
Teenage
one
phenom.
was like Freddie Adu and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I remember.
so I got called up to the full national team at 17. I hung up the phone. I said, "Thank you so much." Then I scrolled through my email and I was like, okay, this is legit. Like they're asking me for my, like, where do I want to fly out of? And they're putting in like first class. And I'm like, oh, I'm flying first class.
International first class. Hey, man, those are expensive, bro.
I mean, the food is great.
Yeah, right? You have all the space and everything. But so what was your most memorable moment being in the U.S. men's team, like at that time? Actually, you know what? Ever. U.S. men's team ever.
Those 2. That game that I went to South Africa, that was my first one. I was 17. I flew over and I'm thinking, okay, like I'm just gonna be a guy that doesn't even dress for the game.
Right.
Like I'm just there to practice, get a feel for the guys.
Alternate.
And then in the future, alternate. Like in the future, like maybe I'll get to put on the jersey and warm up with the team, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I guess I was doing good in practice. And then the day of the game came and he said, you're in the 18 to make the game. And there was like 2-3 adults that didn't make the game day roster.
So in training camp, how many people do they usually invite?
They bring about 23 and then
23
18,
players.
Yeah,
only
22 and then only 18 suit up.
Okay.
There's 3 goalies, so one of the goalies usually doesn't suit up.
Right,
and then there's 3 other guys that don't suit up, but they still get paid. They still thankful that they got.
And they're still there just in case.
Yeah,
too, right.
So I thought I was gonna be one of those guys,
Yeah.
and I was cool with it. I was like, I'm 17, like.
Yeah, you got time.
And then I get the jersey on, and I'm warming up, and I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'm warming up. Or I got good seats at first. I'm like, I got good seats. I got front row seats to the game. I could hear what the coach is giving out tactically, and I'm like,
these other
these big players.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is dope. Cool. Then I'm like, but I'm not gonna go in. But then the training guys are like, okay, go warm up on the behind the goal. And I'm like, oh shoot, this is cool. Like I'm one of the guys that's warming up. Like, cool, but I'm not gonna go in, right? And I'm like, I'm warming up, and then the game's getting to like the 65th, and I'm like, all right, like it would have been cool to go in, but I'm very thankful God for like this.
Right.
experience.
Most likely I'm not gonna go in at 65th minute.
Right.
That's it.
And then guys are getting called over, and I'm like, all right, like there's only 2 more subs left. Like I'm probably not gonna be, because I'm looking around and I'm like, these guys have played games before, they're developed, they have kids, like they're over me. And then the equipment manager puts up a 1 and a 7. I double check my shorts and I'm like, oh shoot.
That's me.
Like, homie, that's me.
17.
Like I'm 17. So I'm like, I'm about to go in the game for real. There's like 15 minutes left and the game is 0-0.
Yeah.
Or 0-0. And then I go and I'm like, I'm about to go in the game. It's 15 minutes left. I go in the game.
Who's the striker in the game at the time?
Nah, it's tough.
Was it
tough to remember?
Was it Altidore?
I don't know. I don't think Altidore came out of that game.
Oh, okay.
But I think there was like, forgot his name, but Johnson. Maybe Eddie Johnson. Eddie Johnson or Edson Buttle.
Buttle. Okay.
Buttle.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And I come in for one of them, and then 15 minutes left, I get the ball and I score, and we win the game.
So that's got to be your favorite goal, right?
And I'm like, that's crazy that I didn't even think I was going to play. I go in the game, I score, and I become the youngest American soccer player to ever score for the senior national team.
Right.
So I like broke a record right there, like right away. I come out of the game. I mean, the game's finished, and they give me the trophy for like player of the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo,
yeah.
I'm 17, and the coordinator of like the U.S. national team, the guy that does the media stuff, and he's like, hey, just to let you know, like, we're gonna need to interview this because you were the youngest player to ever score for the U.S. men's national team.
Wow.
And then I was like, and then everything just started coming at me. Boom, boom, boom. Everything was coming. After that, crazy, like ESPN, Sports Center, like top 10 plays. Because it was a pretty good goal too. And it was like top 10 plays. And then it was just blowing up, like social media wise. Like there was like fake, back in the day, Facebook fan pages and YouTube videos. And I used to watch other people do like other people's highlights. And now like I'm watching like myself, like getting a lot of views. And then there was another game 2 weeks later, I think, or like two months later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in my hometown. I get called up, and it's against Argentina. It's against Messi.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
it's against
that.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to transfer.
Did you score then?
I'll stop talking, but this is like a really crazy sequence of my career, and it was all within like 3 months. And I'm in my hometown, the Meadowlands. I forgot what they call it last. It's like they changed.
We're in Jersey?
The stadium. Yeah, but it was the old stadium. They built the new Giant Stadium, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's 76,000 people. I get called to the game, and I'm thinking, okay, these are senior guys here now. Like back the other camp, there was just like, no, like on this team, like I got to meet Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, DeMarcus Beasley, Carlos Bocanegra. Like that was like the real like senior team. Josie Altidore, like And then I'm like, okay, I'll go to this game, but these guys, like, they have like 50 caps, 60 caps. Like, I'm not going to play.
Was Onyewu?
Onyewu, he was the captain there. He was the captain of the game. And, I mean, I don't know if you do, like, clips or whatever, highlights, but you check out the goal. But I went in the game against Messi, and in my hometown.
Which minute?
I think it was minute, I don't know, it's like,
second half?
65th.
Okay.
We're losing 1-0. So we need attacking. So Bob Bradley's like, all right, we're just going to have to, like, get an attacker out there.
Striker,
This kid, like, he had something on him that we won last game. Maybe, he does something.
Yeah.
So I go in the game, and I'm, like, looking around, and I see Messi, like, dribbling, like, 6, 7 guys. And this guy's like this.
Yeah.
He's like, rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, this guy's
dreaming, right?
No, I looked at it. I looked at him dribbling like close up game situation, him like heated and dribbling, and I was like, yo, this
really
like
he's not human.
I hit a point during the game where I was like, I feel very human in front of him, and I understand that this guy, like, he's very different, like alien.
And he's a football god.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's like an alien kind of. Nothing that I could. Like, I got humbled in, like, 10 minutes because I was like, I don't think I could reach that level ever. Like,
I mean, that's just God's gift,
because you can tell. And then there was a free kick in, like, the 82nd minute. We're down 1-0. And then crosses it. 75,000 people, hometown, New York. I have, like, 50 tickets at the game. They're like, we're going to go see Johnny. That's what they call me back there. He's 17 and he's there. Like, it don't matter if he plays.
Right.
Cross, goalie saves it, and then I tap it in. 70,000, 75,000 people go crazy. Hometown.
Like a big
And Pepsi was like, brought my mom to the suite. So she invited like some tickets, like close family to the suite. And then I score the goal, and then I look up at the suite and everyone's going crazy. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, like I put my tongue out like Jordan in the celebration, and I'm like, I just scored against Messi. I didn't care like anything. I was like, I scored against one of the best players to ever play.
Probably the best player.
Yeah.
And he's right there, and he witnessed me.
And he's like, I made him a little bit mad, low key.
Yeah.
I had an influence in him for a brief moment.
Kid. Who is this kid?
And
he's Colombian, what? Nah.
And it was all at 17, so that's when everything was crazy because my age, and then I was all over.
So let's bring it down a little bit though. What do you want to talk about your worst moment in the USA team?
On the U.S. team,
You want to share with us?
Worst moment? I had probably...
Any downfalls, like...
Nah, I just had... From what I remember now, I'll probably finish this and remember something else. But there was a Gold Cup game final. Like, been playing throughout the Gold Cup, been doing really good. Josie hurt his hamstring, so, like, I'm playing most of the games.
A lot too.
Yeah.
Josie.
Yeah, my boy.
Hamstrings, God.
And then I'm playing most of the games. There's a fight. We get to the final, and I don't start. It's against Mexico. I'm telling you, it was 90,000 at the Rose Bowl. It was loud. It was the craziest atmosphere. This had to be 2015, 13 or 14.
Okay.
And Rose Bowl, LA, like, LA, like the Mexicans, they show up.
Yeah, man, USA always has the disadvantage. If it's anywhere in Texas, California, they have a disadvantage. Yeah. You got to go to Nebraska or something. You know what I mean?
Nebraska. They show up. So warm-ups, it was crazy. They're just screaming at us. And I'm like, yo, this is America. Like,
yeah.
We're supposed to be the home team.
Right.
But nah, they were like throwing stuff at us. Yeah. And it was like a hostile atmosphere. Yeah. I was like 18 and I was like, yo, low key, this is sick. This is what I live for. Like, people going against you. And then, but I didn't start. I came into the game at like 70th minute. Mm-hmm. We were losing in the final, and it was big money.
This was the Gold Cup final, which is the usual, I guess. Yeah, Gold Cup. It's Mexico, big, USA.
If you win games with the national team, it's big money. It's like more money than you make in your salary with your club.
With your club team, yeah.
It's big money, man. So the Gold Cup final, I go in the game 65th minute, 70th. I played so bad, man.
Yeah,
I played horrible. I lost like every single ball. And I couldn't catch any sort of rhythm. And then after that, like, everybody was like, he just,
you're fake and fraud.
He's just not
ready.
He's good, but he's just not there. Yeah, he's not on that level.
Yeah.
And that's when the game finished, and I was like, what was wrong with my warm up? What was wrong with me? Like, I lost every ball. There was a play where a guy, like, I was going to shoulder to shoulder, and he was, like, so advanced. He, like, stopped himself and let me fly, and I, like, looked like an idiot, Wow. And then the fans
Rafa
were, like,
Marquez?
laughing at... and the fans were, like, laughing at me, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, yo, like, I'm looking very bad right now.
Yeah.
And then we lost the game. So we lost against Mexico. We were winning 2-0. They came back 1-4-2. That was when Giovanni Dos Santos.
Oh, I remember that game. Oh, that was a heartbreaker. I remember that game because they still had that. That was a good team.
Yeah.
Dos Santos, Chicharito, and
they checked Tim Howard at the.
Yeah, that was. Well, that was 13.
Maybe it was 14.
Yeah,
13. I don't know.
Around there.
But yeah, that was like early on a bad moment. I've had plenty of other bad ones, but that was like
on the club side. Okay, so we all saw that bicycle kick on the club side, right? I mean, you probably, we know how you felt about that. You have any other goals that were unique that you worked on, or something that surprised you?
Yeah, 2 goals. In DC, I scored a bicycle in DC, and that was cool. But
was that the playoff game?
It was a playoff game, and it was a tough bicycle kick because it was some like Cristiano Ronaldo's bicycle kick where it was a cross.
So there was against Juventus.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was behind him, and he hit that, and I just know as a player, like that's difficult.
For sure.
So
it's difficult on a video game.
So when I pulled that off, I was like, whoa, like I could never do that again in my life. Like I could never. because
But I mean, obviously you work on it, you practice it.
yeah, it
right?
crossed.
But
The ball's curling. There's a little bit of wind, and it's behind
the
me.
timing.
I'm running this way, and I'm trying to get power off to go that way
Mm-hmm.
while doing like some like karate stuff.
Yeah.
So I kick my left up, then I hit it with my right, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna hit it, and it's gonna go.
Just
It's
yeah,
not gonna go on target,
ricochet
right?
everywhere. Yeah. Like the usual.
Yeah. So I go that, and then it hits good contact, and then it goes to the side of the
It was
net,
perfect.
and then I look up, and I'm like, no.
Right?
And I was like, no. And I was shocked. I even went like this. I was like, that wasn't me. Like, that was God. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's got to be because it was perfect. I mean, he couldn't even block it. There's just no way. He didn't have a chance.
Yeah. And just the way it felt on my foot, like, it was like
Solid.
right in the middle of the ball. Like, yeah, it was crazy. And then there's other goals where I just did stuff that I saw on YouTube, and I was like, how did that pull off? Like, SportsCenter top 10,
Yeah.
like, plays where I, like, over the top, the ball bounces, and it bounces, but it slows down because of the turf, and it's behind me.
Yeah.
And I go like this with my heel,
Yeah.
and it goes over me and the goalie, over his head, and into the goal, and boom. Like,
I mean, that's something that you can't teach that. You're not supposed to.
it was
teach
instinct,
right?
And yeah, it was instinct. It was instinct.
And at that point, you just like, I mean, that's the soccer gods. I mean, I didn't work on that little flick.
Yeah.
It's like a scorpion kick.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Some stuff just takes over athletes sometimes.
Yeah, no, right. So being in a club level, two of my favorite players of all time was Thierry Henry. And did you play with Rafa Marquez?
Played
a little bit?
Both of them at the same time in New York
Red Bull.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. I mean, how are they in training? I mean, you can imagine how intense they are, right?
No, that's like, you're saying it because you're expecting it, but like times it by like 5. My expectation was like, they're coming here, they're at the end of their career, they don't care.
Yeah,
they're here to
like, I'm the man, I don't care, whatever.
Yeah, they're here to go to New York City, Soho, shop, get a nice car, pull up.
I'm still gonna be
sign autographs.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Like, they brought over like the mentality that helped me understand like what it takes to become a high level athlete in the biggest country or continent, which is Europe, of the sport.
Yeah.
All the players come, and where their money is, where everything is. And they were like serious. Like, soon as the warm-up started, like, they were just locked in because of them remembering how it was over there.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't care that it was here, America, the players weren't as good.
Lesser
like, they were just like natural instinct of like, okay, like, the whistle blew, like,
it's turned on.
It's only 1 hour. It's only 1 hour. Like, I'm going off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going hard. I'm winning everything I play, even if it's rock, paper, scissors. Like, this is 1 hour of let's sit, and then I'll rest later. And that helped me like take practice more serious.
Yeah. How was Thierry's attitude towards the players? I mean, obviously he's the leader, right? He's gonna be the captain. I mean, was he good to you guys? Was he intense? Was he, I mean, towards you, especially you, right? Because you're a youngin', you're a rookie. Did he, was there anything that you felt like, man, this guy here is just, I know he's up there playing for, Arsenal and Barcelona, but come out here and treat me like that. I mean, did you ever have that situation?
Nah, it was just a young guy. I was 18, 17, and I used to watch his video. This is the YouTube videos I was talking about. Yeah. I mean, if you guys don't know Thierry Henry, look him up.
Right, I know, right? You're not a soccer fan if you don't know Thierry Henry.
And used to watch his clips, and I was like, I told him like maybe second, third day he was there, because my locker was here. He was next to my locker. I started being more organized. I started everything. And then I told him out on the field, I was like, yo, listen, like, I have to tell you, it's kind of crazy having you like on the team, because I used to watch videos of you all the time,
Watch
You
your
do that
games.
move where you drag on the left side and you drag, and then feint to the right and go left, and you did that like
Yeah,
clockwork.
and he wasn't the quickest dude in the world. He
Yeah.
wasn't like a Messi or anything, but he
Yeah.
had that the dribbling skills like no other.
Drag,
Yeah.
feint, and then go and beat so many players. And I was like, I think it's crazy, like, that you're here. Like, thanks for choosing this, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, man, like, come here, like, boom, boom. He was like, you know what? Come on. Let me go teach you how to do it. And I was like, what? I was like a little boy.
So he was
I was doing extra because he saw me. I was doing extra work. I didn't have anything to do. I didn't want to go home and
I mean, that's how you get respect.
Yeah.
You know,
Everybody had to go
work harder
back,
than the rest. Yeah.
pick up their kids. I had nothing. I didn't want to go back and do homework. I stayed after all the time, practiced. Then he saw me and he was like, come on. And I was like, that was like a surreal moment because he was doing exactly how he would beat players. He made millions of dollars doing this move
Yeah.
and beating guys. And he was teaching me one-on-one when no one else was on the field. And that was wild. But then that was the nicest part that he was to me.
Yeah.
After that, nah, man.
Really?
Like, I don't know if French
What are you
people, all
talking
French
about?
people are like that,
What
but
do you mean?
nah, there's a stigma, I guess. I don't know, but this guy had it, man. I mean, I guess it has to be, you have to have a little bit of like attitude and a little bit of like,
Narcissism.
there's got to
maybe.
be something to be
Yeah.
the best. There's got to be like
Oh,
a
yeah.
little trickle. Like there's a pot, there's some sauces. Like,
Well, I mean, you hear that all the time, even about Kobe and
Yeah.
and his mentality, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's some negative things that are said about Michael,
right.
some negative things said about Kobe. Like, but these guys, like, they just wanted to win.
Yeah, they're
You
they're
know?
great for a reason, and then there's a price to.
Yeah. Like I remember in the Michael documentary,
Yeah.
he was just like, if guys want to be mad at me because I just wanted to win, like,
Yeah. So be it. That's your problem.
You know what I mean? So
That's what sports all about, right?
yeah. But when I was young, I didn't understand that about Thierry. And then Rafa was the same. He was just like to the point where it was like a little bit of like going so hard on other players, like borderline injuring. And I was like, whoa, like this isn't cool.
So he went hard on players like that.
I mean, yeah, people were getting injured. Because he was just saying he was frustrated with the situation there. And it was the only way to take it out.
Well, I mean, y'all were a playoff team while he was there. I mean, didn't y'all make it to like the quarterfinals
Yeah,
or anything like that?
semifinals.
Yeah, there you go.
And yeah,
I remember those.
I mean, those two guys were the guys that brought us there, maybe because of that mentality. Like,
So I mean, with Rafa Marquez, obviously he defended you during training, right? I mean, how does that work?
no defending. The Rafa Marquez, Thierry Henry, they did whatever they wanted to do in practice. The coach, the assistant, everybody was too afraid of messing up their decision to come over to America and to
So you can do
build
whatever the hell
the
you want.
franchise.
Right.
It's different, like a big NFL guy going to another team. Like, no, the other team has had big players.
Right.
The franchise, New York Red Bulls, have never seen anything like that before, which gave him the keys to do whatever he wanted.
So, but I mean, like Rafa Marquez was still in that back line, act like he's playing, but he's playing, soft to avoid injury or because he's on the man or.
Nah, he's playing hard. He's good. It's a guy that played Barcelona.
Right, I know. Yeah, he's. I think he's the best defender in Mexican history.
Yeah, but he would never say jokes. He would just be on his BlackBerry.
Really?
Yeah, he'd just be on his BlackBerry, just chilling, talking, come in, come out. But whenever it was that 1 hour in practice, I'm telling you, like, these guys, they went to go kill.
Yeah. So the Red Bull, our goalkeeper right now, Matt Turner. I mean, you played with him for a while over there in New York.
I lived with him. I played with him. Yeah, I lived with him in. He's my roommate in Boston when I was in New England playing for the Revs.
That's right, man. Oh, that was a good team.
Yeah.
Leading the win and Kellen Rowe and right. those were like
it's just crazy. Like this is all you, bro, because the fact that you know these different sports that
I watch international soccer.
I understand. The thing is, soccer isn't that big in the U.S.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're reaching out and finding out these little names of these guys, crazy to me.
Because Lionel being Asian, right? He's Vietnamese.
Yeah.
That was intriguing to me. And then he was called up a couple of times on a couple of games on the USA team, and Kellen Rowe as well. So that's the reason why I knew them.
Yeah.
And I didn't find out till later when, they would play against, the Dynamo, because obviously in Houston, I'm a big Dynamo fan damn, those guys are all on the same team. They're in New England.
But still, there's still not enough hours in the day for you to be able to jump from sport to sport. I know NFL, basketball, but
soccer's
you still gotta. What do you know about cricket? You got some cricket stuff?
No, not cricket. A little bit of golf. You know what's crazy? Speaking of Colombia, that's when, and I was just telling my wife this. I got into soccer in 1994 when World Cup was here, and you remember when USA beat Colombia? I think it was 2-1, right? And that one goal was that own goal by Andres Escobar.
Yeah.
And everything that happened, first of all, the spectacle of the World Cup in '94, I was very intrigued by it, because I could not believe that the Rose Bowl, that many people would watch soccer. I'm over here being a big NBA fan and a football fan, but that soccer, this many people. And then when that happened, and then later on you saw in the news what happened to Andres Escobar in Colombia, that's when I really got into soccer. I never played, but it was just such an intrigue, especially international, because MLS at the time, that was pre David Beckham. I was just watching it because of the Dynamo, and I'm a sports guy. But that's the main reason why I got into soccer, because of 1994 Colombian team. And you were explaining Carlos Valderrama and their goalkeeper, Higuita. He was doing those scorpion kick saves. Yeah, that was it for me. That's the reason why I'm a soccer guy, dude.
Yeah.
How was it? How was it working with playing with Matt Turner, though? I mean, because you can tell right now when he's playing, he has the eye of the tiger. He's a leader, right? The last game that I saw was when he got into Serginho Dest. Did you see that game?
Yeah.
Okay, so Serginho Dest was acting like a knucklehead, and telling him to calm down. He's getting to him with Team Ream too, which I think, were you part of Team Ream's team?
He was in the Red Bulls.
Yeah, there you go.
He was like me and him, rookies, same time. He came out of college. I was coming out of high school, and me and him were living in Hoboken, really close to each other.
And Tim Ream's career has gotten it was like this, and now it's up, and he did great in the Cup, man.
He's killing
it. He's still doing it. But, I remember Matt Turner pushed Dest to get out of there, because, Serginho Dest would just, acting like an idiot. And he was saying something to him, but, I mean, did he always have that fire every game, even on the club level?
Nah, personally, I know the guy. Probably 40% of that was just for the show.
Really?
60%, 60% for the show on TV, cameras. I'm a leader, 60% was
you're not telling your boy that he
60% was okay, I'm trying to win the game. Calm down. We're not trying to play with a guy less. So just relax a little bit. But nah, he's a competitor. This is a crazy story about the kid, because I was popping off, and everyone valued my opinion and blah blah blah. And whenever he was fourth string goalie, sometimes teams don't even have 4 goalies.
Yeah.
And he was 4th string goalie, and I told him
in New England.
Yeah. And I told him, and he was that for 2 years. And I told him, I was like, yo, whenever we do shooting drills, after practice, you're the best goalie out of all the goalies that we have. You make the most saves. And I was like, you're good. Don't let that discredit you, or
yeah,
just because you have number 4 on you right now. But like, yo, I've shot against Tim Howard. I've shot against like a bunch of guys.
Tim Howard's the goalkeeper, man.
They've made saves like you're making saves right now. And he was like, oh yeah, like I appreciate it. And then he just kept working at it because his feet weren't good. He always used to play baseball and all this other sports.
Baseball guy.
So he's size like 15 foot, like
right.
His feet weren't good for soccer. So then he started working on it. It took him like 2-3 years. He was like adamant about it, and he popped off.
So you're saying he's usually just a nice guy. He's not usually a mean guy like that, pushing you.
Right. He's
like you're acting like an idiot. Move. Get out of here.
Just the typical like inland Jersey guy with good parents and da-da-da.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Where's he at now? I mean, I know he was with Arsenal for a little bit.
He was at Arsenal, and then he went to Forest, but he might be leaving Forest. Some rumors, but
really,
I still talk to him. He sends me stuff on Instagram and stuff.
Did you tell him to reach out to my Dynamo folks, or what's going on with him? Tell him to come back to MLS, man. We'd love to have him here.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a good goalkeeper.
He's earning very good pounds over there, so I think he's gonna stay as long as he can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you're just saying that he might go to another team, even if it's like a relegated.
It's good money
team
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably go to JJ.
Especially for goalies. Like goalies don't get that much money in America.
That's true. But you know what? Tim Howard started that over there, man, in EPL.
Yeah, he broke it through.
Yeah, but let's talk about Miami. You know, I know a lot about soccer. I did not know you were part of the expansion team.
Yeah.
What's up with that, man? You don't want to talk about it, or what's going on?
Nah, because I was just there for a year.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's still expansion team. That's David Beckham right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. Preseason, David Beckham took us out to dinner in Miami. And it was like the second day I was there.
The whole team.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a one-on-one with David?
Nah.
No?
Not like one-on-one. There's always people in the room.
Okay,
yeah,
so
he would chat.
Yeah. Did he ever like suit up or anything in practice and training to like get with you and show
on
you guys?
The side? He would just be on the side, like playing with maybe his kids or whatever. But yeah, no, it was cool. It's Miami. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like Miami's Miami. We go to a nice restaurant. He shuts it down. We have a private section, and like he's paying dinner for like these like college kids that like they don't understand like what's happening.
Yeah,
they're just coming out of college and they're rookies, and they're at like one of the nicest restaurants getting wine, bunch of food. They're treating them, and they're just like, this is how professional teams are. And I'm like, this is just Miami.
Why were you there for only a year?
Well, my contract was 1 year with an option, and they didn't take my option after that first year. It was like, hey man, I mean, I think I was the second leading scorer, but
who was the first?
What was it? Maybe it was Higuain.
That's right, Higuain was there. I mean, that's a former Lionel Messi.
Like I'm not gonna. I understand my like. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm not gonna. Like these guys come here to sell tickets and sign autographs, and also perform on the field.
Right.
But there's some that are just there to do that. Like on the field, they don't do the things that other players can do. Like there's a lot of American players on the bench that are just eating it, knowing that they're better than the guys starting. But the guy starting is 34 and he's played Champions League games. He's played World Cups. Like you're not gonna take somebody's position over that, or you're not gonna take him out of the game. You know,
right?
It's too big for the franchise. One, because MLS they do everything to keep building the status of
the
Major League Soccer brand. So they do everything. They even they do everything. in Europe, it's different. Relegation, you can go down. Like, you don't want to pay the players. Like, okay, they're leaving your team. Da da da. MLS is, yeah. And I don't want to get into the business side of things.
Yeah.
They took little sprinkles of the others, NFL, basketball,
Right.
like where there's no relegation, and if a team is really bad, they get first round draft pick,
Mm-hmm.
and like it all equals out. So like MLS notices there's a team, maybe FC Dallas, they don't have a lot of fan attendance.
Right.
Last year, 2023, they didn't have a lot of attendance.
Yeah.
We need to push that market. So it's like, what do you mean? Like, isn't that the team's job? But it's the whole league.
Yeah.
So if a team's falling off, you got Seattle, bunch of fans.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, nah, we need to help these teams like come up here,
Right.
so that the owners aren't mad with their investment.
Really? I didn't know that, because I don't think they do it for my guys over there at Shell Stadium with the Dynamo.
I think they have.
Really? They tried?
Think of
Man, I don't know
Hector
about that.
Herrera going to
Well,
that
yeah, no,
team.
that was the biggest thing, though. But I mean, Hector Herrera, I mean, it is big because of the Mexican fan base, right? But
Yeah.
is that it?
It's
Like, that was it?
It's not even.
'Cause you got LAFC, the Galaxy. I mean, I was jealous. I'm still jealous of them. I mean, the Galaxy, Hugo Lloris just signed with the Galaxy. They had Gareth Bale and Chiellini, and
Yeah.
even when the Galaxy had Zlatan, I was like, what the hell? Why don't y'all go to freaking Houston?
Hey man, that's good money, good weather, high
No,
taxes.
That's true. I mean, they do have a choice, right? And it's like, hey, I'm not going to Houston where it's hot and cheap.
And Houston's in the summer, like
Yeah, and it's hot.
high games in the summer.
Saturday nights.
People hate coming. Like when I was in different teams, I used to hate coming to Houston to play games in the summer. That's why we lose every time. Home
And-
games in
and-
Houston. Oh my gosh.
You know what's crazy? From what I heard, our home games were in afternoon in the middle of summer, 2 p.m., 3 p.m. You want to know who changed that? David Beckham.
Oh really?
When he played for the Galaxy, and I was hating on David Beckham. I was like, of course we're gonna do that, David. You're coming over here playing with long sleeves, of course, and it's outdoor. But hey, it's David Beckham, just like you said, right? We have to just kind of satisfy that guy that's bringing us any money. But ever since then, they've never scheduled 2-3 p.m. games here. It's always at nights, which makes sense, right? I guess now you kind of have to pay attention to everyone's health.
That's crazy. Another stat that
Yeah,
Beckham
man,
only
of course. Well, I used to
long
work for the Dynamo.
sleeves. Okay.
Well, no, I mean, I was a vendor.
He only wore long sleeves no matter what the weather was. That's a big soccer
It's a big star.
low.
The soccer IQ, tell you.
Soccer IQ.
Any soccer guys, Matt Turner, come talk to me. I'll have him
That's
call you.
kinda high, bro. That's crazy.
All right, so Nations League, CONCACAF Nations League. It's a new tournament. I mean, we're back-to-back champs. It's about to be in March. I mean, who are we playing? Jamaica, and then Panama, and Mexico. What's your take on that? Who do you think is gonna make the finals, and who do you think is gonna win?
U.S. man.
I mean, yeah, I guess we have to be biased, right?
Yeah, the U.S. is good.
You don't like? I mean, Jamaica's getting better.
It's U.S. and Canada. Jamaica's getting better, but U.S. and Canada, I rate Canada. They lost their coach, but
They're coming
they're
up.
still a good team.
You don't think Mexico, are they on a downfall, or?
I think they are in a
Yeah.
downfall. Yeah, they're in
Yeah,
a
they're-
downfall. I don't hear much about any Mexican players doing it kind of big in Europe. Mostly you hear American players or Canadian players.
Yeah, and Mexico doesn't have that kind of team that you played against. Like from 2010 all the way to 18.
Rafa Marquez and Chicharito, like
They're all gone. Hector Herrera was on his way
great
down.
Barcelona players. Like that's as big as you can get. They don't have that anymore.
Yeah. So one last thing I wanted to talk to you about was going back to the USA team. What do you think about the current players now? I mean, obviously everybody thinks that they're better because the majority of them are playing in Europe in these big clubs, and from Juventus and AC Milan. And back then, mainly we were in the lower clubs in Europe or in the MLS, right? How do you compare those teams, like the 2010, 2014 World Cup team, to the team that we have now?
Yeah, no, I think it's way better now.
Really?
I think so.
Skillfully and mentally and
That's the part. The first one you said was like
skill.
skill. We used to have a bunch of just athletes back then. Now we have soccer players that like can dribble, first touch, a lot of like
Better passing.
technique. Their technique is way better than things that we've had in the past. And that's just beneficial when it comes to a game where it's playing with your feet, because we don't do much with our feet. Like,
Yeah, not here.
we drink, we eat with our hands, we pick things, like we just walk on our feet. But to be able to do the things that we do with our feet, which we rarely use as humans, like I think that's where like it's pretty tough to comprehend for some people.
Plus, the development over there is just different.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
But the thing is that is changing, that would be a negative about us develop. I mean, it's always a positive developing your skill tactically, but the sport of soccer is like strangely becoming very physically oriented, which means like stamina, speed, and
well, I mean, the rules changed though. You can't bump anybody now. Back then, you can like elbow everybody. I mean, it's just like football, right? It's softened up a little bit, right?
But
I mean,
now,
don't you think?
Yeah, but it's just becoming less more of what player's a good player. Oh, you're good at playing soccer, you're gonna play, you're gonna start. Now there's teams that are like, yeah, you're good at soccer, but our team, the way it is, we like to press, we like to run, and we like to hound, like, so it's like tactically it kind of takes away from the actual like skilled players. Like, there's some teams that wouldn't play Ronaldinho, like, just because he was not a big defender, like, you know what I mean? So it's taking away from like the skilled players. Like, I don't know how you can sort of translate it to a different sport, but some like flashy or very skillful NBA player that doesn't play defense, like,
like Steph Curry and I mean, but you know, it's still a different development there. So if you have an American that grew up over there, of course you get to play in the national team. But let's go back to Inter Miami. Did you know that early on that we were going to grab Messi? Like, we were planning on it?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody knew until they got the sense of him not going after the money, and they kind of understood that he wanted stability for his family, and they're like,
relax.
That's the only thing that we have on this Saudi money, you know?
Yeah. Less pressure.
So that's why, like, Inter Miami, like, they pushed out the promotion of the marketing of like La Familia, you know? And which means the family.
Right.
And they did that literally like just to show, like, that's their motto is La Familia. And they did that like just to get him, to encourage him like a tiny percentage to come.
Yeah.
And nobody knew until he was like telling his agent, like, I'm gonna consider it just because like I've been to Saudi, been on vacation with my family, because he got paid like, I don't know, $4 million just to post a picture of him on vacation with his family.
Yeah, and he would have got like $4 billion to sign with the Saudi team, and then the whole. But see, that's the thing, right? I mean, if he did go there, now it's more pressure because of the whole Ronaldo rivalry again. Let's start over in Saudi Arabia, and then Saudi Arabia was gonna make that money anyway, especially with that kind of rivalry. But with him being here, I mean, it just changed everything.
Yeah.
Right, and when he brought in, you know, it trickled down to Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets, and now El Vampiro is signing. I mean, was the office ever talking about, you know, with him saying, okay, yeah, I'm interested?
No. I mean, Higuain was a big signing too. As a player, Argentina forward, started for Argentina, played at Real Madrid, scored a crazy amount of goals for Madrid.
And then you think he reached out to Leo Messi. And
Oh, yeah, they know each other.
right?
Definitely spoke.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
told him like how it was, but I don't think it was like a long conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's big.
they definitely have the money to make these plays. Jorge Mas he's a really cool guy, and he's built
The owner.
the owner,
Yeah.
the owner
Yeah.
of Miami.
Right.
It's tough to like go into a big city like that, and
Yeah.
you need to pay a lot of people off, like construction permits, blah blah blah. Like it's Miami, you know.
Yeah.
People get irritated, like you're messing with my money. Like I don't know how the Dolphins felt about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, there's a lot.
Well,
of
yeah, David
competition.
Beckham actually mentioned it, how challenging it was during the process. That's why he said that's the reason why it was a huge celebration when we even started building it and started coming up with this idea of an
Yeah.
expansion team.
It takes away attention from Miami Heat, Dolphins. So it's some people make some calls to try to like block these things from happening because you're messing with my money. That's what they're thinking.
Let's void the signing of the biggest star in the history of soccer. Yeah, right.
Yeah. The construction of the stadium too.
Right, I know. Yeah, that's what they did with it. Now Beckham. What's the percentage of his ownership?
I don't know the exact number.
Because I'm thinking it's probably like 10-15%, but then they use his face and his personality to promote, right?
We're talking business now, where like I'm into now, and I don't know a better contract that was ever signed, like strategically by any player in any sport than why David Beckham in his close to prime time chose to come to a league that nobody knew about back then. In 2000, when did he come? 2000, maybe
8? Right. No, 2007, because I remember that was when the Dynamo won back-to-back championships, 5 and 6, and then he came in at 7. I'm like, oh. Yeah.
I don't know who his agency was, but they're like, listen, we're going to go over there. They don't have that much money to pay you, but we see a really good investment opportunity because of how it's going up.
Yeah.
We're going to negotiate you having a basically a discount of owning a team, and you don't have to pay what it's going to be worth in 2020. Like you're capped off at this amount. If you want the team, boom. And then he was like, thank you for that option. I'll sign. Boom, signed 2007. 2017 came and he's like, okay, I'm ready. Because now to purchase a team, it's like $500 million. But I'm capped off at $100 million. So I have $400 million that I can go to owners and be like, be a part of my group, be a part of my team, and you'll have a $300 million discount to be a part of my group, and it involved me. Okay, next we negotiate the percentage of my stake in the thing. And then he just probably got a high percentage because the owners got a huge discount. And that was like one of the best, like, because now his percentage, the value, I think every MLS team, to get a new team to expand, it increases by like 50 million every year. So it's going to be like 700 million.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you, man. I wish we had more time, but we got to do a part 2.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to be out in San Antonio FC, so I might come visit you over there so we can do our thing.
Yeah, 3-hour drive, man. Come through. I'll get you tickets. Yeah. I'll get you whatever.
Appreciate it, man. I'll be there.
Nice brisket. And tacos. They got good tacos.
Oh, yeah. And some churros. Like Charles Barkley, man. Yeah. Those women over there in San Antonio eat them churros. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Nah, man. Thanks for having me. It's fun.
That's it. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, at the I'm Him Sports Podcast. Please like and subscribe our page.